Hi boys and girls of La Habra, it's me, Mr. Myers, and today is Nutrition Day. And we are going to be focusing on, today, potato chips. Now, in today's food that we are going to be studying and going over some facts, we're going to find out that this type of food came about in a funny way, as a joke actually, okay? The person who actually invented the potato chip was playing a joke on someone. So I'm going to tell that joke later, about that joke later, but I want you to figure out what type of food group you think a potato chip falls into. And don't get tricked by, we know that potato chips come from potatoes. Don't be tricked by that, okay? So think about it hard. What type of food group do you think potato chips would fall into? So remember, food groups are grains, dairy, fruits, vegetables, and we have proteins, okay? So just think about it. I'll give you a count of 5 quickly in my head and see if you guys can get it. All right, hopefully you have a guess or an answer. Now, if you said vegetable, you slightly would be correct, because a potato is a vegetable. It falls underneath the vegetable food group as even a starch. But actually, since potato chips go through a different process than a potato, and it's not really a natural way of food, it is considered an extra, like ketchup, okay? That when we study ketchup, all right? So I'm going to be talking about, I have a couple of bags of chips here. I have our classic potato chips, I have barbecue potato chips, I have baked potato chips, and I have kettle cooked potato chips. All right? So all these chips are made a little bit differently, but only today I'm going to compare just 2 potato chips. The classic kind, the regular potato chips, and the baked potato chips, okay? So I'm going to talk about the calories, and I'm going to talk about the sugars and the carbohydrates and the proteins and all that stuff in both, okay? And then I'll tell you how they vary, all right? So talking about calories, okay, first before we talk about calories, I'm sorry, let's not forget about our daily value of calorie count, okay? So we're sticking to around 2,000 calories a day we should be intaking, okay, for an average person. And for a bag of potato chips, the measurement is going to be about 1 ounce. So this is 1 ounce, and there's about 15 chips on average that come into a bag of potato chips, okay? So that's a serving, and that would be the calories that I'm counting, okay? So if you're going to eat out of a bag of chips like this, there's multiple servings. So you're going to have to multiply that number to the calorie count in the serving, okay? That's how you have to mathematically calculate that. All right, so let's start the calorie count, okay? For classic, our calories are 160 calories per serving, 1 ounce, 15 chips, okay? Going to our baked chips, there's 133 calories per serving, okay? Going down to our fat, how much fat is in a serving? There's 10 grams of fat in our regular chips, and there's 5 grams of fat, half the amount of fat in a serving, okay? Fiber, there is 1 gram of fiber in a serving of potato chips. There's 2 grams of fiber, so it seems a little bit healthier. All right, and next, we're going to talk about the sugar. There are, interesting enough, there's a half a gram of sugar in regular classic potato chips. In baked chips, you have double the grams of sugar. Kind of an interesting thing, because so far you've been hearing some healthier statistics about the baked chips, but now it's switched, and we have healthier, less sugar in our regular potato chips than we do in our baked chips, okay? In our protein, they have the same amount of protein. Both have 2 grams of protein in our potato chips, baked and regular classic, okay? So we're going to talk about the vitamins that are in potato chips. There's not a lot, okay? So when I give these vitamins, to let you know the vitamins and minerals that are in the potato chips, there is not a lot compared to fruits and vegetables, just natural things like that, okay? So there's a little bit of vitamin C in potato chips, okay? So vitamin C, remember, is good for your immune system, all right? There's only about 10% in a serving, okay? And then there's vitamin B6 that is also in both chips, and that helps the body with stress, it helps with you sleeping, but there's only 4% of the vitamin B6 that is in these chips, okay? So it's not a lot that's going to make an impact saying, I need to eat a bag of potato chips before I go to bed so it helps me sleep. Don't trick your parents. Your parents hopefully won't get tricked by that, right? All right, so next we're going to talk about our minerals. Since they are from the potato family, they have potassium in there. Not a lot, because through the process of making a potato chip, a lot of the minerals get, they lose out, or whatever, out of the potato, okay? So potassium is good for the muscle contractions, and it keeps our fluids in our body system in balance and check, okay? Also, there's plenty of sodium, because we know potato chips are salted, right? Okay, so sodium, too much sodium, remember, is not good for our blood pressure, which can cause heart problems and issues down the line. But sodium, a little bit of sodium can be good if you're working out hard and you're sweating, and it brings those electrolytes back into your body if you need to eat something salty to replace the salt and when you guys sweat and exercise hard, actually. But don't eat a lot of it, okay? There's also iron in potato chips as well, and iron is also good for the production of red blood cells, okay? So we're going to talk about that story that I was telling you at the beginning, the story about how potato chips basically was a joke on someone, okay? So back in 1853, there was a man by the name of George Crumb. Crumb as in like crumbs that fall to the ground. And he actually was a chef or a cook in a restaurant on the East Coast out in New York. And he had made French fries. So French fries were already invented by then. And we know French fries are also from the potato family. So what he did is that a customer had complained that his French fries were too thick, and he wanted them to be thinner. So George got very upset and angry, and but he didn't take it out too much on the customer, but what he did is he made the French fries really, really, really thin. So thin, like a potato chip. And so he thought he was going to get the last joke on the customer, so he brought out the French fry in a thin slice, and the customer ate the French fry, known it was a chip at that time, as we see it, and the customer was ecstatic about the French fry. George Crumb eventually got compliments about what he was doing to the French fries and slicing them so thin, like potatoes, and he was frying them. Obviously, French fries get fried the same as potato chips. And all of a sudden, we have the potato chip, okay? So that's the funny story about potato chips. So in 1920, many years later, 7 years later, because it was very hard, you're probably wondering why it took so long for potato chips to get turned into packages. In 1920, a man by the name of Herman Lay started making potato chips in Tennessee and selling them out of the trunk of his car, driving around to markets and selling them in the trunk of his car. He had one problem, though. The one problem that he had was they were having trouble to keep the potato chips fresh. So you had to eat the potato chips right away when you bought them, okay? So it was very, very tricky because potato chips, we know, they can go stale and turn a different taste if we don't eat them right away, right? But that's all different now, okay? So going back to the baked and the regular potato chips, we're going to talk a little bit about the differences process, okay? So we know that classic potato chips, they are fried, okay? Potato chips get deep fried, they get sliced, and they're fried, they're salted, and the frying is not a good, healthy process for it. Anything that you eat deep fried, it's going to be a little bit, it can thicken it can clog up your arteries or whatever down the road. The older you get, if you eat lots of fried foods, people with diabetes sometimes have problems with fried foods, okay? So in the sense of baked though, baked, you notice, I told you earlier, has more sugar, okay? Which we don't want more sugar either. So thinking about this, there are some oils in baked chips too, to make the chips crunchier, okay, and taste better, but they're still baking them with oil in the potato chip, okay? Even though this is deep fried, okay? It's soaked up underneath, okay? And also, baked chips were introduced in the 1990s instead of the 1850s, or we could say 1920s by Herman Lay, all right? So back to the other story about how to keep them fresh, okay? Because that was an issue. In 1926, a woman by the name of Laura Scudder in Southern California created a bag, a wax bag, a package to keep the potato chips fresh, all right? So that was a big invention because, like I said, potato chips were not staying fresh, they were going bad, you had to eat them right away, okay? And you couldn't just store them like we do now, all right? So Herman Lay came out with 160 flavors. The first flavor he came out with, though, was barbecue. All right. After the first regular chips he made, they went to bar seasoned with barbecue, and they have 160 flavors now, over 160 flavors, and they sell certain flavors across the United States because in certain regions of the United States, they're very popular. Certain flavors are very popular, even around the world. So we have flavors around the world. We have like blueberry potato chips are sold in China. Okay, they sell lasagna potato chips, flavored potato chips in Italy, all right? Guacamole cucumber potato chips. All these fun different flavors they sell. Now, the company, Lay's company, potato chips, combined with another company called the Frito Company, and they combine, now we know it as the Frito-Lay Company, okay? So they make all these chips. They make everything from Fritos to potato chips to lots of these, all different types of snacks, okay? Well, they hold a competition every year for $1 million if customers can create a brand new flavor each year. And they have America vote on that flavor to see if it becomes the most popular flavor, and that one consumer will get $1 million if their flavor that they created wins the competition for the potato chips. And they test these out each year, all right? So the interesting thing about potatoes, the potato chips themselves, there's only 4 to 5 potatoes that go into a bag like this that makes this many potato chips, 4 to 5 potatoes. But the potatoes are not that big. They only select potatoes, companies only select potatoes that range from bigger than a golf ball and smaller than a baseball, okay? And they use white potatoes for that, okay? So about 100 pounds of potatoes makes about 25 pounds of chips. Now some of you guys might be liking chips called Pringles, okay, that come in a canister. Those chips are actually a little different. They had a lawsuit back in the day where they didn't want those to be called potato chips, but the Pringle company won out in court. So what they did is Pringles is made by drying up the potato, and then they crush it all up, and then they reform it as a potato chip, okay? So it's a little different where potato chips are sliced, okay? We slice the potato chips, and then we cook them right away and go through a drying process as well and salt in it. So those are considered potato chips, all right? So we're going to go ahead and get started with our exercise related to potato chips. All right, boys and girls, we're going to go ahead and get started and do a little bit of stretching before we do our exercises, okay? So let's go ahead, put one foot in front of the other. Remember, keep them flat on the ground and lean over and stretch. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job. All right, switch it and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job. All right, let's start this time. Cross your feet and touch your toes. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, switch and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, great job. Let's go ahead and put one arm across. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome job. And switch. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, shake it out. Let's roll your shoulders forward and roll your shoulders back. Remember, always be breathing. We want to get that oxygen into our muscle tissue when making our muscles healthier and stronger, okay? So breathe through your nose and out your mouth. Always be doing that. And modify your exercises always if they're too hard or if they're too easy, okay? So modify or stay with me, okay? We're gonna go ahead and start, since the potato chips come from the potato, we're gonna start from there, and we're gonna start planting potatoes. Now, potatoes are grown in the ground, of course, just like most fruits and vegetables, but they are considered a tuber. So we're gonna get in our plank position, and we're going to go ahead and water the potatoes, okay? Go back, and we're just gonna water each time the potatoes. All right, keep watering the potato plants. And the potatoes grow actually under the ground, kind of like a peanut. So they're very similar, but they're actually a root. So the potato is a root, kind of like a carrot that grows in the ground. That's why it's considered a vegetable. Okay, keep going, keep planking, and going back, watering the potatoes. Okay, keep watering. Good job. Keep watering. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. And water, and water. So potato is a very interesting food. And it's got a lot of water in it as well. Okay, let's go ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job. Great job. Okay, we're going to go ahead and march out. Breathe. Breathe as you go. Now we're going to go ahead. The potatoes have all grown. It's time to go ahead and pull the potatoes out of the ground. Okay, so pull out. Opposite hands and pull the potatoes, plants out of the ground. Keep going and pull, pull, pull. Keep going. Pull all those potatoes. Remember, 4 to 5 potatoes go into one tiny bag of potato chips. And just think how many bags of potato chips get sold across the United States. It's actually the #1 snack food in the United States. It is very extremely popular. Okay, so we got to pull a lot of potatoes. Make sure we got to package all those potato chips. It's actually another fun fact is it was the first commercialized snack food, meaning a commercial was made for potato chips. Well, the first snack. All right, walk it out, walk it out. All right, so we got all of our potatoes. Well, you never really see skins on the potato chips, right? We don't see that. So we're gonna have to peel the potatoes. So usually we have a tool in the kitchen. So I'm gonna act like my whole arm is a potato, even though it's not that long. And I'm just gonna go push out and push out. Push out, push out with the tool. Push out with one arm. Push out, and give it a little flick. We're peeling the potatoes. Peeling the potatoes off the arm. Your arm's gonna be an imaginary potato. And we gotta peel the potatoes so we can turn them into potato chips. And feel. Give a nice little flick, almost like you're punching underneath. And reach. Keep going. Keep going. You guys are doing great. And breathe. Make sure you're breathing. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, keep breathing. Make sure you're breathing. All right, so now we have our potatoes all peeled. We're going to go ahead and slice them very thin, okay? So let's go ahead. Let's do a straight arm. If you don't want to do a straight arm, do a straight arm and slice the potatoes. Very thinly sliced. We don't want thick potato chips because it won't cook and they won't be crunchy. If you leave a thick cut, they're very hard to cook and make them crunchy like the way we like them. So we call them chips. Chop them up, slice, slice, slice. All right, keep going, keep going, keep those arms straight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, great job. Shake it out, loosen those muscles a little bit because it's time to salt our potato chips. So we're gonna get salt shakers. We're going to get our elbows up. We're going to salt, 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 salt. Okay? So get your hands, imaginary salt shakers in there, and salt the potato chips. You got salting. We got to salt those chips over there. Reach. And salt those potato chips over there. And salt those. Salt all around. We need to make sure that all the potato chips get salt on them. That actually preserves the potato chips too. Keeps them fresher so they don't get moldy or don't get bacteria. The salt kills the bacteria, so it's called a preservative. Things that make the food last longer. So what they do is they salt foods, certain foods, especially potato chips. So they last longer, also in the bag. Keep salting, keep salting. All right, great job. Loosen up your arms. A little bit more to go. So another fun fact I forgot to tell you about is what happens to the leftover potatoes? Because not every potato is made between a golf ball and a baseball. And sometimes we get bad potatoes, all right? So what they do is they turn those potatoes into those rejected potatoes and they feed farm animals. So they go in basically a compost kind of pile, which is food that, container that feeds like the garden or your farm animals. So we're going to go ahead and pick up all those potatoes and feed the pigs and the cows, feed all those farm animals like the goats. Throw those bad potatoes out. Throw them out, throw them out. Give it a little squat and throw out those rejected potatoes. Get them out of there. Throw them up to the pigs, the piggies, and the cows. They are vegetarians, so they're going to be eating those potatoes. All right, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. All right, boys and girls, I hope you had some fun learning about potato chips. It's a very interesting food. Remember, when you're eating extras, eat in moderation and watch and be reading the nutrition facts on the back of those packagings, okay? Especially things like potato chips, Takis, corn chips, and all those things that get used with extra calories that our body doesn't always need, okay? In moderation. All right, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.